Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're working on the Rabbit. So, we're going to get it backed into the lift here, and by backed, I mean I'm going to push it forward and then push it back into the lift. But first, let's get this mongrel out of the way. I'll go fire this thing up. Whoop. Friggin' turd. How you like that mileage? Boom. Ba-boom. Awesome. Alright, let's get back inside. Alright, so our goal here, Rabbit. We're going to do it backwards so it's easier for me to move the engine crane and yacht this motor in here. So, I guess we'll get to pushing. Alright, so we have the Rabbit positioned on the lift relatively. It's kind of straight, but good news, it doesn't weigh much, so it'll pick it up either way. So what we're going to do now is unbolt the front bumper, and I guess we'll unbolt the rear bumper, and that'll be good because we're going to have to do a little Drillington in here to collapse these later for the customer. He doesn't want them at full protrusion, which I wholeheartedly agree with. So we're going to do that, and yeah. Once I get those off, we will put her up in the air, get the exhaust off, get some of the other crap out of the way that I can't reach from above, and then I guess while it's up, we will wheel the motor over and, well, rather, drop the car on top of it. So let's get doing that. Let's go. Alright, at this point we gotta move this pile of stuff that I put in here so I can get to the bumper bolts and pop the rear bumper off. Let's go. Okay, let's go. Alright, one lock. Here's a wiggle test. I think we're pretty sturdy. Alright guys, we'll start from the back and we'll take a look at this Rabbit. So, right off the bat, looking pretty good. Rear beam is alright. Oh. Well, that explains why this thing's so miserable to push. What the hell's wrong with this drum? All right, we'll fix that later. But let's go ahead and look underneath here. So, if you're from the Northeast like me, you may have never seen something so clean in your life. She's not perfect. She's got a battle scar here and there, but it looks like they happened at the same time. And other than that, she's pretty dang solid. I have really no concerns here structurally. Alright, so what we're going to work on now is getting... Oh, this is so nice having a lift. I wish it was a little taller, but I'm working with what I have. That shock is L-blown. So what we're going to work on now is... Oh, this light flickers. Sorry, guys. We're going to get the shifter assembly out, the exhaust off, and... we'll go from there before we go ahead and try to pop this motor in. So let's go ahead and unbolt the bracket here. I guess there's a bolt here. And that should take care of that. And then I think, dang it, it looks as though I had to do this from the top side. So we'll lower the car back down to finish that off. No big deal. The exhaust, I'm hoping, yeah, well, that's not coming apart. Maybe it will. Probably won't. But this is all going to have to come off, so we'll deal with that shortly. Let's go. Okay, so sorry about the flashing. We'll do a little better with that. I gotta go to the top to get the shifter out, but we're gonna take this exhaust down, so let's go do that. That's what floors look like. I'll be damned. Check it out. Alright, now let's bop inside the car, and we're going to knock this original shifter plate out of here. Should be pretty easy. Let's get the big old blue crowbar, and well, bam, pop this thing out. Nothing to it. Alright, so, like all things that aren't going back in the car, let's throw it on the floor. See ya. Now real quick, let's test fit the S&P bracket. This is their bracket for the O2J shifter. They also make one for an O2A shifter, but we're not going to use that junk because the donor cars was broken. So, let's look at this just a little bit closer because it looks like it's going to fit. Okay, so now we have the S&P bracket bolted in, and we're going to go slide the shifter in underneath the car, and hopefully I'll be able to reach it, and we'll pull it up through. But before we do that, we got to come over here and pull these studs out of the box. I'm told you don't need them. I kind of like the idea of having all 4 holes because, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's how it was, instead of just 1, 2. I'd like to have these, but we'll see. So, that's what's inside a Mark IV shift box. It comes out of a junkyard. We're going to go ahead and take those 2 bolts out, and we are also going to clean the crap out of this and lubricate it real well before we put this back together. Alright, so we're cleaning out this box here, and we're taking the studs out, and they're actually bolts. So what you'll need to do is actually disconnect the one cable, just so you can get at it easily enough. So you pop off this little clip here, and then this little clip right here. You can pop that out, and then you can get these bolts out. So that's what we're going to do. Then we're going to brake clean this up, and then we're going to white lithium everything so it's nice and lubricated. Okay, now that we have this cleaned, lube it. Okay. So, let's take our shifter box and put it, under the car. Semi-close to the opening. Can we reach this? Whoop! We sure can. Alright, now that I got the bolts started, I can do this one-handed again. Damn. This S&P shifter bracket's solid. Bump, 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 bump. Squeak, go backwards. Let's move on to the next thing. So we're going to try and get these mounts on here so I can set this engine and trans in the vehicle. Alright, so in order to install this bracket, we need to remove these 3 bolts because it's going to sit, those 3 bolts because it's going to sit over here. So why don't we go ahead and bop these loose. Okay. Don't need those. And what we are going to do is take the bolts that came out of the original mount, and we're going to actually put those back into the housing to clamp it together. Perfect. Okay, now we got to wind these in. Alright, so that was a mighty pain in the ass to get done. It is super tight getting this middle one on here, but it's on. Also, no, I didn't tighten the nylocks because I don't want to use them yet. I just want to put them on here so I don't forget where they go and they don't get lost. Now, this will go as such, whoop, like that, and our original bracket will go like that, which means this can go like such. Excellent. Now I have to go find 2 nuts for this. I found them. Alright, so now what we're going to do is put the trans mount on. Should be pretty straightforward actually. And just like that, guys, we're ready to put this thing into the engine bay. So we're going to prepare to plunk this thing up in here, and we'll see how that goes. Okay. Let's see if we can make these 2 things 1. Alright, set her on the locks, and let's look. Yes, plenum will clear. Alright, let me try and scoot this in here. Car's on the ground. Let's go ahead and get the engine crane in here and try and pick this up and put the mounts on. Alright, so pretty much this will be straightforward-ish. The harness is going to obviously come out over here somewhere and land over here. So things we have to consider. ECU placement. I'm thinking right there is going to be really good. That's pretty much it, except for the glow plug control, which I believe was originally mounted over here somewhere. Let's just start laying this in and see how it looks. Try not to get the engine too dirty in the process. Okay, so we're at the point in this project where I have to start making notes and making flags. So you're going to want to get your painter's tape and make flags, grab a Sharpie, and write what the hell they are. So, things we don't need. We do not need the VSS, because what we're doing is converting this to a cable. And we did a delete in the ECU to get rid of the VSS so it won't run in weird mode. So no big deal. So what we'll end up doing is pulling these wires out of this barrel connector just to clean things up a bit. And we should be able to just depin them there once I get my depinning tools replaced, because I broke what I had. On the big harness, we're going to do the same thing. I just needed to see it kind of like in situ so I knew what the heck everything was. So for instance, that's your recirc valve. So we're going to need that, and that's going to get tied into the vacuum pump. But thankfully enough, we have just what we need for that. And that'll go into, this will go into the cabin to do the vacuum for that. And this will go to a reservoir that usually lives in the fender, which I believe this has. So that aside, just things like washer pump, thermo switch, stuff like that. I got to label this just so I don't forget what it goes to when I've unwrapped this, because that's what we're going to do next. I've decided that there is 0% chance this thing's ever going to fit in here with all this crap on it. So I'm going to label everything, take it all off, take pictures of things I'm not sure about, and when it's a little bit lighter, then we can slam it in. Oh, poo, I broke through my glove. But in the interim, I think what I'll end up doing is actually stripping all this loom tape off like I was going to do once I have my labels on here. That's not going to be fun. But we'll get through it because we need everything. So like for instance, fan control module. We're going to keep that. Most of these Mark I swaps, I get rid of them. We're going to go ahead and get all of this labeled up, and we're going to go from there. So let's do that. All right, so off camera, I have done a bunch of work here. We have stripped of the tape and all that bow-jangled stuff off of the engine harness, the body harness, the headlight harness, dash harness, the harnesses. So at this point, what we're looking to do, pretty much figure out where this is going to lie and start taping it in place so I can do a final wrap of it later. I guess what I want to do is finish thinning out the dashboard harness and the body harness, because I only need parts of it, but I want it to be nice and tidy. So things like the headlight harness, that'll get adjusted, and that's going to go snip and get connected to the factory headlight switch. Easy peasy. But that'll be for another video. In the interim, let's go back to the car and look at something real quick. What we're going to have to do is get this factory harness connected where it needs connected to the Mark III stuff, make sure it works, and then we are going to obviously start laying this in where it all needs to go. And we're almost to a point where I feel comfortable taking this engine back out so we can get the transmission cleaned up. I can install the flywheel and the clutch set up, get all that situated, and actually install this permanently. Obviously, you can see we're still using the O2A shift tower right now. That's going to get changed out for the O2J tower since we already have the box. I will be taking the steering rack down. We're replacing that in entirety, so that'll be super handy. And with the new rack, I think what we're going to do is actually cut off that bracket right there, and that'll give us a little more space for our shifter cables to come up between the firewall and the steering rack tube. On the engine side of things, I do have to go scavenge through my plugs and go find the little paperclip doohickey that holds that on so that doesn't fall off, and then we lose injection pump control, because that'd be a problem. And I still have to figure out what the ever-loving frig this goes to, because I don't remember. I don't know what the hell it goes to. I can't find a frickin' tab. I can't find a single spade anywhere that it's supposed to click onto. I'm honestly at a loss. I don't remember what that went to. And what's annoying is you can tell that it went, I don't know, somewhere around here. It almost looks like a shutoff thing for the pump, but I think that's this right here, the shutoff solenoid. So I don't know. I got to look back through my photos, which I already did, and I can't find a damn thing that this connects to. It's rather frustrating, but all I can tell you is it's a single green wire, and, well, it goes to something. But that was plugged factory. This is the turbo feed line for the oil feed, and there's nothing the frig else here. Whatever. Fall off that bridge when we come to it. That's a minor detail. If it's a ground, it's a ground. If it's not a ground, then I'll figure out what it is. But so I guess for now, that's where we're going to leave it. I'll get back with you guys very soon on this build. I'm hoping to start making some more progress here in the next day or two. I am waiting on parts for the vet so we can get the intake manifold bolted on. As you saw in the last video, we're closing in on that, so I'd like to get that done today when stuff comes in, and theoretically start the engine in a couple days once I get the last piece of the puzzle, which is an intake boot. But anywho, as it pertains to this car, we'll get back to it shortly. It's just going to be a little bit of a project. Obviously, everything's a project. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this project if you have any input. I'm open to hear it. I may not follow it, but I'm happy to hear it. So until next time, guys, get out there and build something cool. Life is too short to drive boring junk, so build cool junk. Something like that. See you in the next one. Bye.